Hello and welcome back to another video on the Wrestling Debate and to another edition of Raw Out of 10. It's a big show today. WrestleMania firmly in the rearview mirror now. We're moving on. Just a few weeks away from WrestleMania Backlash. There's some major matches getting announced for that show. Brock v Cody, Judgment Day versus Sami, KO and Riddle. So yeah, lots going on like I say. So let's get straight into Raw. And unsurprisingly, it was the Bloodline who kicked off the show. And Usos and Heyman were on the mic when the Judgment Day made their entrance. We learned from Heyman that Roman Reigns had arranged a secret deal with them. And they would help each other out even though Balor had issues with the Bloodline. Heyman offered to solve Judgment Day Bad Bunny problem if Balor and crew took care of Sami, KO and Riddle tonight, and we headed for our first match shortly after, which was Solo versus Ray. Ray started off strong and avoided some early offense before taking a big lariat. Solo got some big elbow strikes before Ray came up with a sunset flip. Mysterio went for a dive, but Solo caught him and turned it into a Samoan drop. Ray then got the 619 and springboard splash before the Usos came out to distract him. The LWO showed up and attacked the Usos at ringside before Solo blocked a 619 in the ring, but Ray got it on the next try. Ray missed the splash before Solo came in with a Samoan spike for the W. And yeah, after the match, Bloodline attacked the LWO and took them out with Samoan spike before Ray took the 1 day. And yeah, that's 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, really interesting dynamic between Bloodline and Judgment Day. Kind of like it as well. It ties in, and I guess we'll see the Mysterios, the LWO even, unite with Sami, KO and Riddle. So yeah, kind of expanding the feud. I like it going in a different direction. And yeah, we're going to get some good matches out of it. Speaking of that match, yeah, really good match. Solo continues to be dominating beast. Ray isn't really harmed by defeat. So on the whole, just a really good start to Raw. Backstage, Maxine Dupree and Chad Gable were fighting about which one of them would keep Otis after the draft, and Adam Pearce said he will consider both of their propositions. Interesting. Bianca Belair then took on Dakota Kai. Kai tried for some big moves, but the champ was in control early on, and Dakota was taken into the corner for sending her outside. Kai got a big boot before we headed for a break, and back on Raw, Belair hit a jawbreaker and a stalling vertical suplex before getting near for off a handspring moonsault. Kai then missed a double stomp before Bianca hit the KOD for the W. And yeah, this gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Really good match, actually. Surprised by how good it was, but yeah, just because the amount of time they were given. But yeah, I mean, really good match. Belair retaining was the obvious result, but I think Kai also gained something major out of this. So yeah, on the whole, this was good stuff. Paul Heyman was then backstage asking Judgment Day about Solo's match against Ray earlier. Bayley said it was A since they weren't impressed, but Heyman reminded them that they now had to uphold their end of the bargain and take out Sami, KO and Riddle tonight. Before Cody Rhodes was out and said he wanted to fight Brock Lesnar tonight, Adam Pearce came out and said Cody was not medically cleared and had to leave the ring. Cody said he was going to leave, but then came back with a steel chair, and Adam called security to handle the situation. Security summoned Cody into the ring while Brock made his entrance. Adam offered Cody a match at Backlash if he refused to fight tonight, but Rhodes attacked and wiped out Weezer's security until they managed to hold him back. Lesnar smiled from the entrance ramp and walked off backstage before Cody tossed security out of the ring and got on the mic to call Brock a coward as Raw moved on. And yeah, this feud's really hotting up now. Still think Cody should have won at Mania, but I think this feud's definitely really intriguing. It's going to lead to a great match at Backlash for sure. But anyway, Seth Rollins v Miz was up next, and the Miz attacked Rollins before the match and sent him into barricades and announced his death before they headed to the ring and the match kicked off. Miz then had control early on and sent Rollins into the corner before Seth hit him outside and hit 3 big dives. Back after a break, Miz got a code breaker in the corner for a near fall before trying for the kicks, but Rollins blocked it. Rollins then went for a frog flash, but Miz got his knees up before getting the figure 8 leg lock. The Miz then got a few DDTs before Rollins got a suplex, Falcon Arrow and the stomp before getting the win. And yeah, it gets 6 out of 10 from me. It wasn't a bad match or anything like that. It's just kind of felt predictable. Seth Rollins v Miz is obviously a match that we've probably seen a million times before. So yeah, just didn't really feel new or freshing, but at the same time there wasn't anything wrong with it. Just want Rollins especially to do something more, to be honest. Backstage, Riddle then had some ideas about the match tonight, but KO was not in the mood for fun and games. Riddle reminded them that the Bloodline had gone after him and has tag team partner, and he was very serious about beating them tonight. Before it's time for Bobby versus Austin Theory. Lashley got some big offense early on and tossed the Ciampa around the ring before getting a front face lock. Theory was sent outside before he tried to come back and took a flat line, and Lashley then tried for the hurt lock, but Theory broke out and got a super kick. Back on Raw after a break, Lashley missed a big spear before Theory was locked in a hurt lock. Bronson then attacked Lashley from behind and broke the hold, but also caused the match to end. Reed tried to lift Lashley, but Lashley taunted into the hair lock, but Theory came back with a dropkick from the back. Lashley then took a slam from Reed before Bronson hit the tsunami. And yeah, I've got no issue with this. Kind of felt the US title was a bit worthless here, which is the only negative, but Reed's being booked as a real killer against Lashley, and I think that's a really intriguing feud. So yeah, that's good stuff, but at the same time, treat the US champion a bit better, please. Trish Stratus was then out next on Raw and said she was single-handedly responsible for the women's revolution in WWE and accused Becky Lynch of believing her own hype and being ungrateful to legends like her. Trish admitted taking Lisa out last week as well as losing the tag team titles on purpose. She said she wasn't going to be anyone's sidekick and walked out. So yeah, Trish Stratus, really think her heel character could be great and can't wait to see where it goes. All the way to SummerSlam potentially, which is definitely going to be an interesting run. But yeah, this was a good promo and Trish Stratus is a heel. I'm definitely here for it in the year of 2023. Meet Jin and Candice LeRae then took on Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. They kicked off the match before Candice was tagged in and got some big moves. Green got a DDT before making a tag. Deville came in and took a sunset flip bomb for a near fall. Sonya then took the code blow through Mitchin before Liv broke up the pin. Sonya tried to get a pin using the ropes and was stopped by the ref before Green came in with a big stamp and picked up the win. And yeah, this gets a 5 out of 10 from me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Corey Gray's comments was right when he said the women's tag team division has never really caught fire, and it hasn't. This is kind of just another example, kind of just a meaningless match plonked on before the main event. And yeah, would have liked something more here, to be honest, so 5 out of 10. It was then time for our main event, the Judgment Day versus KO, Sammy and Riddle. Sammy and Balor kicked off the match and Dom was tagged in early on, followed by Damien. Owens came in and got some big moves before Balor sent him outside and Rhea hit a choke shot on KO. Riddle was then on the ropes before sending Dom and Balor outside, but Damien caught him with a choke stand to the outside before he could dive outside. Riddle was isolated in the ring before Zayn tagged him in and hit a big top rope powerbomb on Dominic. Zayn was then setting up for the finish, but Rhea dropped him from the ropes before we got a big sequence of moves, leaving Sammy alone in the ring, and Rhea dragged his leg to stop a dive to the outside. Rhea got ejected from ringside about bloody time before Sammy got the blue thunderbomb on Dom for a near fall. KO came in and dodged the coup de grace before Damien took the stunner and Balor took the Helluva kick. Riddle came in with a floating bro and picked up the win. The Usos and Cena came out and attacked Sammy, KO and Riddle, but the LWE came out as a result, resulting in an all-out brawl. Dom took the 619 from Ray before KO dropped Damien and announced his desk as Raw went off the air. So yeah, not good first night for the combined duo of the Bloodline and the Judgment Day, but obviously we'll see if they improve in future week, if this is going to be a long-term thing. I kind of hope it is because it's like the idea. But yeah, this match was all out chaos. Definitely made sense in the context of everything. So yeah, gets 7 out of 10 for me. Good stuff. Overall, Raw this week gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, I thought it was a really good episode of Raw this week. Really enjoyed the two stables reuniting the storyline throughout the show. And yeah, some decent matches throughout the card as well. Set out nicely to WrestleMania Backlash as well with the Cody Brock build. So yeah, on the whole, I have to say it was a pretty decent episode of Raw this week. Some high caliber matches and really building up some interesting storylines. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, don't comments down below for daily wrestling news and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.